August 7th, National IPA Day. IPA, for those of you that don't know, is a beer, India Pale Ale. There's lots and lots and lots of them. That seems to be all the craze nowadays, is these craft beers. Now, I'm not a huge beer drinker to begin with, and I definitely don't like IPAs because they're just too hoppy for me. I know a lot of people really like them. Not really my thing. Plus, I'm more of a, I'd rather have a nice glass of red wine or a cocktail over a beer any day. But that's just me, personal preference. So, what do you do when it's beer day, you know? You make soup. And that's what we're going to do today. I love a good cheddar beer soup. If you've never had one, they're really, really good. It's a nice, thick, creamy soup. So today's show, you better really like two things. You better like cheese, and you better like garlic. Because man, oh man, there is a ton of garlic in this one. Okay? And our star today, our featured item, is the pale ale. So we need a cup of that too. But I'll show you what you need, show you all our ingredients, and let's get started on this one and make some soup today. We haven't really done so. I think we only did one soup so far. So this will be a nice change. And I'm sure in the fall we'll be doing a lot more soups. But for now, I know it's August, it's hot. Who wants soup? Make the best of it. Be right back. Okay, for our soup today, we need 2 sticks of unsalted butter, 1 1/3 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 large yellow onion diced, 8 cloves of garlic minced, 4 cups of chicken stock, a cup of IPA beer, a cup of whole milk, 3 heads of roasted garlic, a tablespoon of smoked paprika, a half a teaspoon of ground cumin, 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, 2 1/4 pounds of white cheddar cheese, or 36 ounces, salt, pepper, and some fresh chives for garnish. Alright, let's get started today. So the first thing you're going to do is take your 3 full heads of garlic. You're going to wrap them in foil, drizzle them with some olive oil, salt and pepper, cover them up. An hour in the oven at 350. You're roasting this garlic, so it's going to get all nice and squishy. You're going to be able to squeeze all of this out of here. So like I said, a lot of garlic today. Not just this garlic, more garlic over here. But anyway, do that first because you're going to want that cooled down enough to be able to handle so you can scoop out all of the garlic from there, okay? So now, in a small saucepan, take a full stick and a half of your butter. Get in there. Stick and a half and start melting that down. We're going to make our roux first for this soup, okay? And once your butter is melted on a medium heat here, you're going to add all of your flour to this, and you're going to whisk this all together so you have no lumps, okay? You want a nice smooth mixture, and you're going to cook this for a couple minutes just so you get this nice brown, blonde kind of color, okay? Just want to cook your flour down a little bit. Just make sure it's really well whisked together and nice and smooth, no lumps. Okay, and then once that's nice and smooth, take it off the heat and put it to the side. Okay, that's going to come into play later. Now, take your sauce pot, or your soup pot. Okay, going to put that on. Take the last half a stick of butter and get that in there. Okay, and let's melt this down. And then once your butter's melted, you want to take your onion and drop that into there. And your garlic, your minced garlic, not the roasted one yet. Okay, just your minced garlic. Give that a stir. You just want to cook this for about a minute or two, okay? Just till you really start to smell the garlic and stuff. Then you know you're ready to go for the next step, okay? We're not looking to brown or caramelize this or anything else. Just a little toasting, a little saute just to get those flavors going. Now, with the onions and stuff, you don't have to chop it real fine because when this whole soup is done, it doesn't matter how chunky it is, because when this whole thing is done, we're going to take our immersion blender and we're going to basically puree this whole thing. So don't worry if your onion isn't diced real fine or whatever, because you're going to chop that up later. You could also do that in your blender or your food processor, but because I have an immersion blender, it's going to make life a lot easier. Alrighty, so we got a nice minute or two on that. To this now, your chicken stock, your 4 cups of chicken stock, okay? Your IPA, and your milk, okay? You're adding all your wet stuff together now, okay? Just give that a good stir. And you're just going to leave this alone now till it comes to a simmer. We're on a medium heat here, so just let that simmer. In the meantime, while that's simmering, we will squeeze and get all of our garlic. You can use a spoon or whatever you can use. You want to just get in here. Let me go a little closer. You just want to get in here and get all this nice roasted garlic out of here. Sometimes you can squeeze it and pop it out of there, or use a little spoon and get it out of there. Okay, so we're going to take as much of the garlic as we can out of these heads of garlic. All right, be back. Okay, so by the time you get all your roasted garlic out of the 3 heads of garlic, can't wait, told you better like garlic. You get the hang of that after a while. Some of them are easier to get out. You squeeze them. Some are really nice and soft. Some are still a little firm, so the whole head just pops right out of there. The whole clove of garlic. Okay, so what we're going to do now is add all of this garlic to our soup. All of this roasted garlic. I cannot wait to try this one, I tell you. I cannot wait because I just love garlic and I love cheese. Add our smoked paprika. Should we get all that in there? And our cumin. Okay? So we're just going to mix this all together. Oh wow, the smell that just came out of this pot smells so good already. Okay, so we're just going to bring this to a simmer. I have it on a really low heat now, and what I'm going to do is take my immersion blender and I'm just going to puree this right in the pot here, okay? Now you're going to take that flour mixture that we had, and we're going to add this right to this. Okay? And you're going to just whisk this in to the other stuff. It should break down right away because the butter in this roux with the flour is just going to liquefy again. It kind of stiffens up when it sits there, but then it gets, once you mix it into here, it's just going to melt and incorporate right in. This is obviously going to be our thickener for this soup. The cheese is going to help too. Okay, but you just want to make sure this is nice and smooth. Actually, I'm going to use my immersion blender again just to make sure this is all broken down, the flour and everything else. I don't want any lumpy pieces of flour, so I'm just going to use this to mix all my stuff together. And then finally, it's cheese time. All of this cheese is going in there. I know, it's a lot of cheese, but that's the soup. Okay, so you're just going to do like maybe a handful or 2 at a time and just mix it in until it gets melted down, and then just keep adding it until you have all this cheese in there, okay? And there it is. Now, just a quick tip. If once you get all your stuff in there and you do that final mix and you think it's a little too thick, almost like a queso dip, you know what I mean? Like a really thick soup. That's okay if you like your soup that thick. Or what you can do is what I just did was heat up a little more chicken stock and just add that to it and whisk it in just to kind of thin it a little bit so it's a little bit not as thick of a soup. Okay, but as you can see, it's extremely creamy soup. Now, while I was doing this, I thought of something that I have to have with this. So I have to run to the store. But we'll be back to taste this in a little bit. Don't go anywhere. This needs something special. Be back. Okay, I'm back for the tasting. I had to run to the store. I needed a bread bowl. I know, I'm trying to copy that famous bread place that puts their soup in a bowl. Unfortunately, the only roll I could find was a Kaiser roll, so this is a pretty soft roll, but that's okay. Our soup is so thick, it's holding our soup really nicely. So let's give this soup a taste today. As you can see, it's extremely thick. I mean, like I said, it's almost like a queso dip. You could probably use it as a queso dip, but it's going to be really good with the bread. Man, that is some good soup. I'll tell you what. If you want to even call it a soup. Oh, I sprinkled some chives from my garden on the top too, just to give it a little something something. Really, really good. If you're not a beer fan like me, this is a great way to use up some beer that you got. Probably could throw some bacon in here too. I'm just as you do it, you just keep creating more and more ideas, and you're tasting it and you're going, oh, you know, it'd be good in this, some bacon. Oh, you know what, we did this, and that's what made me think of the roll. I was doing it and I said, hey, you know what, I was just there the other day and had soup and a roll, and it was so good, that's what made me think of doing it. So anyway, happy IPA day. Drink a beer, cook a beer, whatever you got to do. See you tomorrow.